Hello and welcome to Two Chicks Tell All. It's your girl Tay Tay here.
And Cece.
We're a little bit late today because we were hungry and we had to eat.
We had to eat, and well, there were two things. So Grease was on, old school Grease movie, and we had to. It was at the very end scene where, of course, it's like you got to see that
the classic scene.
Exactly. So it was a combination of that, and the pizza was falling to be ready about the same time. So we had to eat. So yeah.
So we're here. We can just be a little casually late, right?
Yeah, right. We're usually kind of good about that, but had to get a couple things in.
So I'm going to give a little disclaimer just in case, because you never know. Yeah. So any people or places that we talk about in this podcast, their names have been changed just to kind of protect the identity of everybody. So that's that.
Yeah.
We might tell some stories, but we'll never mention names just because that's not us. No. Not what we do.
No, we'll give you some good like code name, nicknames and stuff.
Oh man, we got some good code names.
But yeah, no dropping of the real name.
So I guess this was just like another surprise one, wasn't
it? We've been kind of like doing these on the whims the past couple weekends because you get on a roll and you have all these good topics and stuff. And so, we've done some really good episodes and really hot topics, but then we kind of just started winging it and found that we can kind of wing it pretty good.
Oh yeah, we can. We're pretty good
at it.
So
we kind of have a juicy one tonight, really.
So we're also live, so don't be afraid to comment. We love to interact with y'all.
You might want to comment on some of this for sure.
I know, right? So I guess tonight's episode is kind of about like sex therapists, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of like,
yeah. And just like some statistics about people that participate in sex therapy.
Yeah.
Because, that is an important part, I think, of relationships and of life because, being able to be intimate with your partner is something that definitely needs to happen.
Oh, yeah.
So I think if you're having trouble with that, definitely try to seek some therapy and see what you can do to kind of get on board with that.
Yeah. But we do, Tay is featuring one of the best of the sex therapists that's out there. And just because it's just such, because she is who she is and, she is a little up there in age and we're going to drop names on this one. But yeah,
I have to say hi because my YouTube aunt hopped on.
Oh, nice.
Sherry None Ya Business is my YouTube aunt. So hi, Aunt Sherry. Glad you're here. She said hi, Taylor and Cece.
Hey.
So glad to see you here. She's actually been on a few of my lives on my other channel doing like movie chat with me and stuff. So she's pretty cool. So I am going to talk about one of the big names in sex therapy. Dr. Ruth Westheimer. Talk sex with Dr. Ruth. I don't know. She had a lot of different like things going on.
Yeah, and written books and stuff.
So basically what I wanted to do here is just kind of like give a brief overview of like her history and where she came from and kind of like what made her who she is today. Because I think that her story is actually very interesting. And it just kind of makes me laugh that a little old woman like her knows so much about sex.
Exactly. Yeah. Detailed stuff.
It's something that just like you wouldn't expect. And I've actually been watching a lot of like her old YouTube clips this past week, just kind of like, refamiliarizing myself with it. And I'm like, this little old lady had some good points. Like, I ain't even gonna lie. Like, she knew what was going on. But anyway, so I'm gonna give a little overview and biography and history behind Dr. Ruth Westheimer. So she was born in Germany in 1928, and she survived the Holocaust because her mother sent her to a Swiss orphanage. After the war, she went to Palestine, joined the Haganah. I'm not sure how you pronounce that, so I'm sorry if I pronounced it wrong. She studied in Paris and finally came to the United States. She had received her doctorate from Columbia when a guest appearance on a radio talk show led to a show of her own. With a genius for communicating joy and human sexuality derived from Orthodox Judaism, she has gone from success to success. So I do think that that's kind of interesting, like somebody who's big in her faith
right
is on there talking about like how to have a healthy sex life.
Right. Yeah.
So that's kind of a little bit fascinating, if you ask me. She has appeared on part-time news and late-night talk shows, written a series of best-selling books, and generally exploited all avenues of communication for her message that sex is a wholesome part of the human experience, which I definitely agree with that. You know,
Oh yeah, for sure.
you know, a
Yeah.
lot, it's a healthy thing. I feel like sex
Yeah.
is a healthy thing. Don't be afraid of it. That's all I
Yeah.
say. In the last 2 decades of the 20th century, there were many reasons not to celebrate sex. The fear of AIDS brought to the surface the connection between passion and death that has always been a dark strain in the human mind. Which, yes, I will admit, we are going to, get
Right.
into like some deep stuff just because that's kind of what is like this is about. It's about deep stuff. So we're going to hit some deep stuff here. A fundamentalist Christian reaction against the sexual revolution threatened to re-enthrone Puritan values. On the other side of the coin, millions of children were bearing children, and many of them were damaged by drug and alcohol abuse. So, against this desolate background, a cheerful Jewish grandmother who called herself Dr. Ruth marched forward and said, with undeniable sincerity and forthright common sense, that sex was good and indeed heavenly. To the astonishment of many Americans who tend to associate religion with sexual repression, Ruth Westheimer declared that her message of liberation had its origin in Orthodox Judaism, which I can agree with that. A lot, like, sex does have some edgy parts like in religion. Like, it's kind of not really something that you talk about in religion because a lot of like religions are opposed to it. So Carola Ruth Sigel was born in Germany on June 4th, 1928, the daughter of Irma Henauer. So that's, kind of a little bit of background. Her name actually isn't Ruth Westheimer. It's Carola Ruth Yeah, I can't talk. That's a mouthful.
Yeah.
Carola Ruth Sigel. So yeah, trying to see because I have like a lot of information here and some of it kind of repeats itself. So I'm just gonna get into like some more of like her history and stuff like that. So she studied at the Institute of Psychology at the Sorbonne, which is in Paris. After a divorce, she came to the United States. In New York, she entered the School for Social Research on a scholarship for victims of the Holocaust. While studying, she married her second husband and gave birth to her first child, Miriam. After a second divorce, she met Manfred Westheimer, which that's how she got the Westheimer. They were married.
Okay, you're still going, but that's it. Like I'm sitting here going, oh my goodness gracious. Like on the third, I mean, that's crazy. Like, I guess that's probably why she was so in tune with a lot of stuff is she kind of gone through some dudes, what I mean? Like
she saw and heard
once,
some
twice,
things.
3, 4. I don't even know. Tay-Tay's I don't even know how many she's gonna hit. Let's see how many more husbands she hits.
They were married in December of 1961, and their son Joel was born in 1964. So she had 2 kids. The next year, Ruth Westheimer became an American citizen, and she received her doctorate from Columbia University. Let's see. Yeah. After working in a number of positions involving sex education, family planning, and sex therapy, Westheimer found her niche when she did a guest appearance on a local radio show. The audience response was so positive that she soon began hosting her own show called Sexually Speaking. Beginning in 1980 as a 15-minute embellishment to the station's schedule, it quickly expanded to an hour and finally to 2 hours. Westheimer proved to have a real genius for communicating joy in human sexuality, while at the same time informing her audiences about responsibility, sexually transmitted diseases, and safe sex.
Oh yeah, I will have to say of some of the things I've heard, her shows or whatever, is she's always, that was like one of her key things is the safety. You know, the
Yeah.
condom thing. I can always remember and always visualize her talking about, you know, how to appropriately put on a condom and stuff, you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you know, she talks about some crazy shit,
Oh,
but
yeah.
she definitely, you know, tells you need to be safe.
Right, yeah.
So, you know, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to see.
Get-
So yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, you're good.
So she hosted her own program variously, I think it's variously, called Good Sex with Dr. Ruth Westheimer, The Dr. Ruth Show, and Ask Dr. Ruth, but her national reputation came from appearances on such network programs as Nightline, CBS News, The Tonight Show, and Late Night with David Letterman.
I was going to say Johnny Carson, I think, loved her, and I think had her on a lot, like when he was doing the Tonight Show. I think she was like a favorite guest.
Well, I would
think
if you
see how many times.
If you've ever watched anything that she's done, which you can find like a lot of her old clips on YouTube, this woman was hilarious. And I think like part of what was hilarious about it is it's this little old woman, and you wouldn't expect that she would know about all this.
Right.
But like she's on there and she's telling you all about it. And it's just kind of funny.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into some of the publishments that she's made, like the books that she's published and whatnot. In 1983, Westheimer published her first book, Dr. Ruth's Guide to Good Sex. Since then, she has written more than 40 others, including her autobiographical works, All in a Lifetime, and Musically Speaking, A Life Through Song. In 1995, Westheimer co-authored Heavenly Sex, Sexuality in the Jewish Tradition with Jonathan Mark. Drawing on traditional Judaic sources, it grounds the famous sex therapist's philosophy in Orthodox Jewish teaching. While some have suggested that the authors ignored the darker side of the classic Jewish dialect on the subject, it is difficult to ignore the cultural significance of the book and Dr. Ruth. So, you know, she did get a lot of criticism just for, you know, I guess like coming where she came from and like what she talked about, which, you know, people are going to talk regardless of what you do. So, you know, I can definitely see that was understandable. So I'm trying to see like what else I have, because
Tay was, I hate to say it, she took a lot of it on this week herself, because my dad's turning the big 80 on Wednesday. Yay! And I love my dad to death. I'm real close to my dad, and so I've been planning. And nobody's going to listen to this that would know my dad. So but been planning a surprise party for him next Saturday. And so I've been busy with trying to get all this stuff together for his party, and I'm leaving to go to town on Wednesday. So luckily, Tay kind of took the bull by the horns, and she's so good at is covering most of this. I got a little bit. I'll follow it with you guys when she's done. But yeah,
So I guess just some of her other works: Conquering the Rapids of Life, Making the Most of Midlife Opportunities, The Lover's Companion, Art and Poetry of Desire.
Oh, nice.
Dr. Ruth, Grandma on Wheels.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Power, the Ultimate Aphrodisiac.
Golly.
Yeah, she's had like a lot of different ones. Dr. Ruth's Guide to College Life. She probably knew a lot about that.
I'm telling you.
She probably had some good
information.
I
didn't
for
like.
some
I
of
was
them
going
college
to say,
kids.
you've really opened my eyes up, because I didn't realize like all that history of her.
Oh yeah, she was a Holocaust survivor and all this.
Insane.
Yeah. Dr. Ruth's Pregnancy Guide for Couples.
Oh my God.
That's always important. Grandparenthood.
Oh man.
And Dr. Ruth's Encyclopedia of Sex.
There you go.
So that's just a little overview on Dr. Ruth, which I think I did cover like a good majority of just where she's come from and what she's done and what she's contributed to society. You know, she's been a big figure in society, actually.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
well, probably helped like thousands and thousands and thousands, and probably even, you know, of couples in their quest with, you know, and I'm sure most women, like I said, probably. I wonder what her ratio of men to women audience is, you know?
I don't know, but I kind of like that she, you know, I mean, obviously, whenever you're that type, like whenever you're a person who gives advice, you obviously, shouldn't judge and stuff like that. But she absolutely did not judge. Like she would tell you like what you needed to know and stuff like that. And that's what I liked, is she was very like straight up and straightforward. Like she would tell you like what you needed to know.
Right. Yeah.
And what you could do to like improve your sex life.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And there was like all sorts of different things that she could tell you. So Aunt Sherry said, that's what I'm going to call her. Aunt Sherry said, Dr. Ruth has her own vibrator. I've heard of that. She's like 90 something now.
Oh my goodness.
Like, woman's still kicking. She's like 90 something.
I wonder if she still says how many times she has sex a week.
She probably would.
Is she still married, or do we know if she's still married?
That I don't know.
Tay, you can look it up. Look it up while
yeah, I'm gonna look that up. Wow,
that'd be interesting to know. Honestly.
All right, Cece's gonna.
Is she on her next husband? Yeah. So I'm just gonna dive into a little bit of like research or just some stuff about like the sex and relationships and stuff, because that's an important thing. Obviously, we were saying earlier, and as far as sex and relationship, and I kind of have a personal story I can share a little bit here, because I can. But I was involved with, well, actually, there's kind of two stories to this sense.
So Dr. Ruth is still alive. We know that much.
Oh, nice.
She's only 4'7" for anybody
that wanted to
know. Okay, go ahead.
I didn't realize she was that short. I thought she was at least 5 feet tall. But I'm sorry. I just had a bad thought, and I'm not even gonna go there. But yeah, I actually had two situations where there was a guy that I dated that he actually had an accident that he had, and it was like a water sports accident kind of thing. And so it was like he could never like really basically calm. I hate to say it, but I'm being honest here.
Yeah.
In me, it was kind of like he would always have to kind of more or less finish it off himself, which was kind of like, that was something that I think I never thought would bother me, but we were together for a long time. And he actually was one of the easiest relationships of the men that kind of I was involved with. We were so good together, and it was so fun together. But that was a sexual thing that happened.
Was this the older gentleman that you were with?
Well, oh no, that's another story.
No, that's another story.
Because when I met this guy, I was actually in my 30s, and he was older than me, but he was like 45. So he wasn't
not too much.
Yeah.
Older.
So he didn't have the problem in the sense of like it didn't work, but it was in the sense of it didn't, that didn't happen in the end.
Yeah.
So that was a little difficult and a little, weird to deal with, but we kind of got through that. Like that was a workable thing, I guess. But then I did have another situation with a gentleman that I was involved with that was older than me again. And it did not work. And at first it was some medical stuff. So it was kind of like I didn't press the issue, because I was thinking that there were some things that he, had to be cleared medically, basically.
Right.
So once that did happen, and then things still didn't happen, then it was kind of a little obvious that the reality, finally he had to be honest, I guess. And it was not like it was well working prior to. So, it was kind of like that was a kept thing for me, I felt like. And honestly, I'm so close to my father, y'all are going to laugh at this, that I talked to my dad about this. I was like, Dad, what, and my dad's like, Christy. Oh, sorry, it's my name.
I think you said it.
I've probably said it before.
In the beginning,
it doesn't really matter. But yeah, that he's like, men, that's a really hard thing and tough subject for men to talk about. And I go, Dad, I totally get that, but then that's something, I'm like in the prime of my sexuality, and I'm thinking, kind of thing. So yeah, needless to say, that didn't work out either. But so I'll just jump to a couple other things that I personally found out instead of relating my story to. But their research does state that couples basically wait until an average of like 6 years before seeking counseling if there's like sexual issues, or sometimes even just relationship
that's too
issues.
long. That's too long to be waiting.
Yeah, you would
nip
think
that in the bud right away.
Right, like come on, like and maybe not so. I think people now are more willing to try to seek the therapy, instead of hopefully waiting. I know it kind of sucked. Another relatable story. But I was actually engaged to this guy and we had issues and we went and saw a counselor even before he got married. Luckily, I never married him. So, and I felt bad because I'm thinking, I'm not even married to this guy. And here I am getting counseling already, so that was kind of, but
but you're not completely alone in that, because
I mean, I think if you think it's going to help,
my ex-fiance and I, before we finally broke up, we did try to seek counseling.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Like we tried to see if we could like get a third party in there to try to like work it out, or try to, help us, but it didn't work in the end.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
I think a lot of couples do that though.
Oh, yeah. And at least, I think if you're going to put forth the effort to try, and if you find out it doesn't work, then at least you're finding out then it doesn't work. Then you get married, and then 10 years down the road, it's like, oh, sorry, this didn't work. So, but yeah,
and then you've already invested yourself, and you probably have
very
had
much
kids.
So. Yeah, exactly.
There's probably a lot more to lose at that point.
Oh,
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, and I hate to say it, but that guy, that one of the gentlemen I was referring to in one of the stories, like he was married before and had a child. But even when she was like in her early kind of teens, it was kind of like, he was like, oh yeah, it was already like kind of over and done with. But he didn't want to divorce his wife until she was older and got out of school and stuff, So
right.
A lot of people, it's like, oh, I'm staying together for the kids. It's like, well, I'm pretty sure your kids kind of know something's up. But so anyway, but nearly 50% of 1,000 couples say that they have attended some form of counseling for various reasons, so it can be sexual, it can be communication issues. I mean, there's all kinds of things
that's why we were in, that's why me and my ex-fiance were in therapy.
Yeah. Definitely. And I honestly think that's probably the biggest one, because you think if you can communicate better with somebody, then that hopefully means you're communicating better in the sexual aspect too, like you're able to more openly talk about sexual things.
Yeah,
because it is really hard. I mean, it was awful. I hated bringing that up, like I said, with that guy, because I'm like, I know this is bad, but like, here I'm on the, it takes two, and you got to both be honest. And so, and I'm pretty sure, like I said again, it is hard for men. So,
and communication is everything.
Right. Yeah. So
hey, Annie J joined us.
Hey, Annie J. So, according to one study, approximately 50% of married couples are sexless, which is crazy. You think about that. It says, and that basically means that their spouse, they haven't had sex with each other in the past 6 months or up to a year. So, and that's another thing too. It's like, the frequency, is it important? Is it, as long as you're at least getting it like, once every month, are you okay with that? Like, I wonder what some people,
I guess it depends on the person and like the couple.
Right. Because I'm pretty sure men obviously are more sexual than women. I mean, some women, I
don't
guess,
know. There's some women that like it just as much as men do.
Yeah. But I mean, I was with this one guy and it was kind of like almost, oh, you could do it every day. And I'm like, I don't think I could do it every, I mean, I could, you know what I mean? And so, and yeah, and apparently he had to like kind of relieve himself every day in the sense of that. Like, I guess those boys would build up because, I was like, we had a lot of sex. And I was like thinking, like, how do you still have to like whack that dude out? Like, I don't get it, kind of thing. But yeah, it was a little like, okay, here we go. So, all right, a couple other things. It says, why do some couples fizzle while others fizzle? It says social scientists are studying non-sex marriages for a class about what can go wrong in relationships. Married men and women on average have sex with their spouse 58 times a year. So a little more than once a week, according to data collected from the General Social Survey, which has tracked the social behaviors of America since 1972. But it says there are wide variations in that number. Married people under 30 have sex about 111 times a year. And it's estimated that about 15% of married couples have not had sex with their spouses in the last 6 months to a year. Again, going back to the other study. According to Denise Donnelly, associate professor of sociology at Georgia State University, who has studied sexless marriages. So, and that's another thing too. I mean, I guess I've never been married,
Neither
so
have I.
I can only relate in the sense of the relationships I've had, and there, I'll say out of, I guess the 2 out of the 4, 2 were good sexually, 2 were not so good sexually, I guess you could say. So maybe I'm
So,
breaking even.
Annie
here.
J wants to add to the conversation.
Okay, what you got, girl?
She said, I was with my ex for 17 years. 5 of those years we didn't have sex because he didn't want kids. So I finally divorced because my biological clock was kicking. And I think that
yeah,
I think that there are women that do kind of fall into that, you know?
for sure. Like if you want a family, I totally get it. I never wanted kids. Well, I kind of thought I did, but once I kind of reached the point in my 30s, not married and all that kind of stuff, I was like, no thanks. So.
I still want kids and I still kind of have hope for it. Actually,
Tay, you're still young.
If you want to know some fun information,
let's hear some fun information.
So I went to my gyno because it was my annual exam and stuff like that. Ladies, if you know, you know.
Yeah.
So I had spoken with my gyno about getting blood work done because I've just been like chronically fatigued lately and I can't figure out like what the root of it is. So I was thinking maybe it was hormone related. So my gyno was like, yeah, I can, run a panel and we can see like what we'll find. And I said, okay, that sounds good. So she checked my sex hormones, which I didn't even know that you could do that. Apparently you can. And according to my sex hormones, right now is the best time to get pregnant.
There you go, Tay-Tay.
I told my mom, I said, don't get any ideas yet.
I know, right?
I said, I need to get stabilized first. I said, don't get any ideas. All right. So Sherry said, I've been married for 20 years. Wow, that's awesome. You don't see that a lot nowadays. So that's good.
Yeah.
Chris is here. He said, hey, Taylor.
Hey.
Annie J said, had my son at 39, but wanted 3 with my ex. So yeah, I mean, I've heard of people having kids like later on in life, and it still works. So So I don't really think, I understand that like doctors say, oh, your biological clock's ticking. Like, don't have kids after a certain point.
There's like grandmas now in their 50s having kids. Yeah, their kids that can't have kids. I don't think
and there's like doctors saying, oh, like don't have kids after a certain age because they'll have issues or they're more prone to having like health issues. Well, honestly, at any age, I know. Sorry, Forrest Gump's playing.
Forrest Gump's on the TV in the background, and it's at the part where the mom walks in, and he's got the guitar, and he's in there like he's, and he's in there with Elvis Presley, So anyway, sorry.
But I honestly think like having kids at any age can make them prone to having anything.
Oh yeah.
Because there's a lot of different factors. Which I'll give another piece of information. I studied early childhood in college. So I learned a lot about like child development and stuff like that. There's a lot of different factors that go into a child having like special needs or a child having like medical issues. It's not all about like how old the mom is, honestly.
Yeah.
So,
I thought I wanted them, and I even
feel like that's not true.
I said to my parents, because I had a good job, I'd bought a house at an early age and everything, so I had a house, and I was like, I don't really need a man to raise a kid, because I thought I really wanted a lot of kids and this and that, and so my 30s start creeping around and everything, and I was partying good in my 30s, having a good time, going out like and so my dad at one point was kind of like, I might have been like mid 30s, and he's like, so whatever happened to that? You would have kids at 30? I said, oh, Dad, that ain't gonna happen. I'd already realized that at that point. No thanks.
So Annie J said, I didn't say I didn't have sex. I said we didn't. Oh my gosh. And then she goes, and then Sherry was just laughing at her. This is what usually happens. So if you get Annie J and Sherry in the same room together, they're like besties. So they'll crack each other up. And usually if I'm involved, it's even more of like a crack up session.
Right. Yeah.
So and then Annie J goes, LOL, it's true, but he signed off on it. A little jealousy would have been nice.
Nice.
I feel like, men do get jealous. I feel like they just don't show it. But I definitely think that like they get just as jealous as we do sometimes.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead. Sorry.
All right, so this is just back on some of the conversation that was with the Professor Donnelly about the research they did, understanding like no sex marriages and stuff. So this was kind of like some of their conversation, and questions that were asked was, is there any indication that the sexless marriage is becoming more common, or are we just hearing about it more? And she says, I suspect that we hear more about it. Back in the days before reliable birth control, having a sexless marriage was no way of limiting family size. Those were also the days where women were not supposed to enjoy sex and often used it as a bargaining tool in their marriages. Yeah, baby, you take out that trash and I'll be like, meet you in the bed tonight,
and I'll take out your trash.
I know, right?
Whoa.
So, but it says, plus unhappy couples who are less likely to have sex were more likely to stay together because of social expectations or because they had children they were raising. Yet again, some of what I said earlier. Why does a marriage become sexless? Does it start that way, or does the sex just fade? And it says the answer to one is both. Some of the people in our sample never had much sex from the beginning, while others identified a particular time or event, childbirth, affair, after which sex slowed or stopped, which is totally understandable. I think, if somebody goes running off and having sex with somebody else and you're married, then that's obviously like really hard. Like, luckily
Right.
I never even stayed with a guy that cheated on me. I was with this one guy and I suspected he had done something with this girl that worked with him, but I never, he never would admit anything. Well, then after we broke up, he had the balls enough to say, well, I did sleep with so-and-so. And I was like, dude, it's not like I didn't know. So, but what he didn't know is I actually had slept with somebody else behind his back. So anyway.
Right.
Okay. So it says, some people become accustomed to their spouse bored, even in sex slows. For others, it is the demands of raising a family, establishing a career, and mid-adulthood. And there are people who have very low self-drives and may even be like asexual.
So Annie J said it becomes sexless because he didn't shower after work and he farted and snored.
Oh my God.
Listen, and that can happen. And not brushing your teeth. That some men have a tendency to stop doing that after you've slept with them quite a few times. So,
oh yeah, for sure.
There's a lot of different factors.
Yeah. So it says they may have some sex with partners or begin with, but it becomes unimportant to them and usually not unimportant to their spouse. These folks may also be dealing with guilt issues with the human body or feel like sex is dirty or other procreation. Like that is true too. Oh no, that's not. What are you doing? Like when they come off of being something other than it just being sex, that can really be a bummer.
Sorry, I need to block somebody there.
Okay.
Somebody just came in and said that they fart and snore, and it's a name I've never seen before. So
a small number of
timeout. Bye.
A small number of couples showed.
Which, by the way, I think we do need to make some moderators, and I'll work on that later.
Okay, sweet.
Okay.
Yeah, because we do get into some deep stuff here. So a small number of couples showed a mixed pattern where they would have periods of like feast and then of family, like you do it a lot and then all of a sudden you're not doing it at all. So are couples in sexless marriages less happy than couples having sex? Generally, yes. There's feedback relationship and most common between happiness and having sex. Happy couples have more sex, and the more sex a couple has, the happiest they report being. Obviously so. You're getting it, you're happy,
right?
But keep in mind that sex is only one form of intimacy and that some couples are fairly happy and intimate even without sex. She was saying in her early 93 study, she found that people in sexless marriages were more likely to have considered divorce than those in sexually active marriages. There is no ideal level of sexual activity. The ideal level is what both partners are happy with. And when one or both partners are unhappy, then you have a marital problem. Obviously so.
Annie J, I blocked the person because I have never seen the username before and they made a weird comment. So that's the only reason that I block them. I don't care who comes in and talks, but like, be respectful and like, I don't know. I know that there's some internet trolls out there. So that's why I was just protecting that.
Yeah. All right. So one other thing she said, and then I'll wrap my side up here. But says, can people in a marriage that have become sexless rekindle their sex life? Some do, but once a marriage has been sexless for a long time, it's very hard. One or both may be intentionally afraid or hurt or feel rejection or just entirely apathetic to their partner. They may not have been communicating about sex for a very long time, if ever. And that's the thing. Obviously, that other study said some people take 6 years before realizing and going to get help, and have trouble talking about it. Couples who talk over their sex lives as well as other aspects of their marriage tend to have healthier marriages. But it's hard to get a couple talking once they've established a pattern of non-communication. And again, back to the important cue there is that communication. You know, you got to communicate. You know, if you communicate, then everything else tends to work out for the better, you know.
Right. So did you want me to post the link, Cece, and we could see if anyone wants to come up and chat?
It's up to you, hon. That was all we had for tonight. Yeah. So yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna post the link, and you know, Annie, if you want to come up, or Sherry, you want to come up, Chris, any of y'all. Let me try to see if I can post the link. I just copied it. Copy.
Tay-Tay's a technical expert here, so.
All right, I don't. Where's the button for paste?
Control P. Well, okay. Control P will paste too, I think.
Oh, no, that ain't it.
Oh, sorry.
That's print.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, Tay-Tay.
All right, now I gotta exit. Or no, I don't want. Okay, I want to cancel that.
I'm sorry, I'm making her do stuff she doesn't know what she's doing.
Is it Shift P? No. All right. Let me.
Or you could right mouse click and then, or there you go.
Okay, copy.
And then go over here and
right
mouse click.
Listen, I always forget the mouse.
I know. Yeah, I have to have the wireless mouse. I can't do anything without a wireless mouse.
All right. So Annie J, Sherry, if any of y'all want to come up, just click the link.
But yeah, so I actually we'll probably do our cast next week, but it might be more like a Tuesday or something, because I'm gonna be out of town and get back in on Sunday, which is normally when we do our cast. So we'll probably bump it to Tuesday. And yet again, we didn't really discuss what we would have as our next episode. So
I kind of just like these surprise ones.
But we're getting into summertime. So, you know, spring is sprung. So I think maybe we should try to think about something spring related, happy, fun, something that's going to be fun, vibrant topic. It could be about rainbows for all I know. But, you know, like something to the sense of it's a springy type, just, you know.
Oh, Annie J's wants to come up.
We'll figure something out here.
Hello, Annie J.
Now listen, ladies, why would I want to come up here and talk about my sex life?
That's plugged in.
Oh no. Uh-oh. Can we unplug the mic to hear you? Or
yeah, because I think it should still pick it up.
Okay, is the mic unplugged? Hello?
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So I forgot that we had the mic plugged in, and I didn't realize that it was like, you know, part of the headphones. So we had a technical issue there for a minute, but we're good.
No, I was just saying, why the hell would I want to come up here and talk about my sex life in public?
You don't have to talk about your sex life. We were just inviting some interactions. Yeah. So you can talk about, you know,
whatever you want to talk about.
Do we know who Turd Johnson is?
Yeah, I've seen that before. I've seen that I wouldn't call him a troll or anything. Okay. I think they're just trying to contribute to the conversation.
Gotcha. Turd, you're welcome. I'm sorry. I just know that there's some like internet trolls out there, so I apologize, Turd. It was not clear that you were contributing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because I said that my ex-husband didn't shower and he snored and farted. And Turd, Turd sounds like a guy's name, right? So so he probably does fart and snore. So
he probably does. So Turd, Turd, I apologize. You're welcome here. Anyway, so how's your eye? I was wondering.
It's getting better. It's getting better.
Oh, so Turd just said, "Oh, I am one of them, but I'm here. I'm genuinely trying to contribute to the discussion."
Oh no.
Yeah. Okay, so it is an internet troll, but they're being respectful, so they can hang out. So
Yeah, well, you are talking about sex, so that's going to draw people.
I know, right? I know that there's like, there's some different communities out there that are dealing with some crazy. So that's why, I was just being careful. That's all it was. But yeah, Turd, you're welcome here. It's all good. That might even be Leafy. This all sounds like Leafy talking.
No, this could be Leafy.
Yeah, because I know that he likes to change his name sometimes. Leafy is somebody who follows me on my other channel. And he's pretty funny. He's been up on my panel a few times. But that kind of sounds like him talking. So I'm wondering if he just changed his name.
Yeah.
Well, and Leafy's been trolling on other channels too, so.
Yeah.
I've seen you, Leafy.
Are you married again then? Let me ask that. Are you married again?
No, but I did have a baby when I was 39 with a man that I thought I was going to marry.
Yeah.
And we didn't end up getting married because of his stupid mother. And
yeah, bad. Those are always bad when you have bad moms.
Yeah, so I had a baby and I'm back with the ex. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
But I do invite my ex over a lot. I mean, we're good friends.
Hey, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, as long as if there's things you can still get out of that person and you're all good with that, then I'll totally say go for it. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Yeah. It's like,
that's cool.
Do what you got to do,
So Aunt Sherry said that she also had a baby at 39 as well. So,
nice.
I think you guys are definitely proving that kind of what the doctors say isn't always necessarily 100% true. I mean, like I said, it depends on the person.
Well, they say 40. 40 is the cutoff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Turd said he's just some random on YouTube. Okay, that's fine. Good to see you. We're trying to get more of a fan base, so.
Good to see you.
Well, thanks for the call in.
Yes, we appreciate you being up here. This was kind of fun to do. I was trying to see if we could get somebody to come up and talk for a few minutes.
Oh, are you ending it?
Probably not. We usually, we try to aim for how long usually?
Yeah, we're at about 30, 45 minutes. So yeah.
Yeah. So probably within the next 10 or so, we'll probably be ending it.
Well, I just came up to.
What's that?
I just came up to support you. And
Thank you.
Is Chris still in the chat?
Oh yeah, I'm still here, hon.
Oh no, I think no.
Oh, the other Chris.
I'm talking about Chris.
Okay.
Yeah, that Chris. I don't know where he went. He might be making another one of those cakes like he made last week.
Right.
He made a cake that was in the figure of a body part. We'll just say that.
Okay. Hey, I've made some of those before. Bachelorette parties. Yeah. We had a friend of ours. She had to have a double mastectomy, and so we did boob cake for her. So yeah, I've done body part cakes. I can relate.
Oh, Chris is here. Hi, Chris. We didn't know what to do.
Yeah, I was going to say, Taylor, because you tried to get a hold of me too. Whoever's been trying to get a hold of me and I haven't been answering your phone calls and stuff, it's because my eye's been hurting me. And I've been getting a little depressed,
Yeah, no, I understand that. I just was, wondering if you were okay, which you let me know, so I was okay with that. That's all that it was. I was
Yeah.
worried. I was worried about my mama. I was worried about my mama.
Get that thing healed up, girl.
Right. Yeah. Apparently, it's going to take a couple months.
Oh, that's not good. You must have scratched it pretty good.
Yeah. So I'm not wearing contacts anymore. Forget that.
Oh, I don't blame you. If I would have ran into something like that, I would be done wearing contacts for a little bit.
Besides that, where I'm going, I don't need contacts.
Right? Yeah, she stays at home a lot of the time. Homebody. Chris
No, I'm
said,
talking about the bedroom.
what's that?
Talking about the bedroom, Taylor.
Oh, hey.
My friend with benefits, no. He hasn't been around lately.
I know, okay, so I'll give a quick update on that. Like, the guy that I was thinking might be a friend with benefits, that was a total fluke. So, just saying, no friend with benefits here. Might be something I explore though, because we going through a dry spell over here. Just saying.
I hear ya.
Oh my, I was cracking up at you and Susan, or you and Stormy. I was cracking up at you guys so much. I was listening to your live from last night this morning. Because I went out last night, so I was listening to your live this morning while I was getting ready. And I was cracking up so hard because I can only imagine what's going to happen whenever you two get together.
Yeah, we'll see. No, Chris, I didn't talk to anybody.
No, she hasn't been feeling good. So Sherry said, I couldn't wear contacts because my fingernails would slice my cornea. Ugh. Yeah, that doesn't sound good.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I did. Sherry, I scratched my cornea. Damn it, I hate when that happens.
I know, it just sounds painful. That's what that sounds like.
Well, Susan doesn't know this, but I was talking to Susan when it happened. Damn bitch.
Oh my. Oh my, that's funny.
I'm kidding.
Y'all are a trip. You and Stormy are a trip.
Well, I think I could be a trip with anybody.
Oh no, you could, because I know that I look forward to Tuesdays because I like to go on your live and bullshit with everybody. That's like my favorite part of the week right there.
Yeah. I'm hoping to go live this Tuesday.
Okay, yeah, I'll be there because I don't typically have anything going on Tuesdays. Okay, so Turd also says, I cannot wear contacts either. The idea of touching my eyeball weirds me out.
I know.
So I had that whole thought process whenever I first started wearing contacts. So I had to start wearing contacts whenever I was, I don't know, probably 10 or 11 because I was taking dance class and it was just easier to do my stage makeup without having glasses on. So
Right.
I got the contacts and I had a hell of a time trying to put those things in whenever I first got them. I had to get my mom to put them in and stuff like that. But
right, it took you 2 hours to put it in, right?
Yeah, it did. But probably, I don't know, probably by the time I was 13 or 14, I was wearing them almost full time and I wasn't having any issues with putting them in. And pretty much ever since then, I've been a contact wearer and I pretty much just wear glasses at night. So contacts just kind of become a part of you once you get used to the whole thing.
Yeah, but here's the problem with my contacts are thick now because they're bifocals.
Right.
And my other contacts were thin. They would fall out. I would pick them up off the floor and pop them right back in or whatever, spit on them or whatever and put them back in. But
Yeah.
these ones, they're thicker and they're bifocals, and I'm just not going to wear contacts. That's all.
I gotcha. No biggie. Yeah, Cece just brought her lizard back out to the living room. So Cece was a dog mom. Like, she had a dog, but I'm sorry, Cece, but her dog just passed away like not too long ago.
November.
So now Cece found a lizard in her backyard, and she now is a lizard mom. She has a lizard, and
saved
then what's your other animal?
Two lizards. One's a leopard gecko, and the other one's just like the green little lizard you find out in the backyard, a little gecko kind of lizard.
Yeah,
As long as she's not a parking lot lizard.
it's not a parking lot.
He's a sweetie. Well, Cole, we've had a good cast tonight, and
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Again,
Yes. So
Turd.
what's that?
Turd. It was nice meeting Turd too.
Yeah, it was nice meeting you too, Turd. Please come back. Yeah. So anyway, as always, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. And it'll probably be again next Tuesday before we do our next cast. So.
Yeah, or we'll try to figure it out. It won't be Sunday because she gets back on that day, so we'll just try to figure it out. We'll play it by ear, but we will definitely, let y'all know, like probably at least 12 to 24 hours before, because that's what we usually do.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, don't forget I go live on Tuesdays.
Right. So yeah, maybe we'll do like Wednesday or something.
Oh, we can do Wednesday.
Yeah, we'll do Wednesday then.
Yeah, we can do Wednesday.
So then, yeah.
I'll give us more time.
So yeah, because then we can figure out a topic and stuff like that. Although I've been liking these little flyby topics.
I know, right?
I decided I wanted to research Dr. Ruth
I
like
said
the other
springy
day.
sprung. We got to figure a springy sprung happy kind of thing. I don't know. We can figure something out.
Maybe like cute couple picture ideas or something. I don't know. Listen to me.
DIY ideas or something like.
Yeah, like
time. Yeah, we'll see.
Next time on.
What's that?
Dr. Ruth Bestheimer.
I know.
Yes,
right?
that's what we discussed at the beginning
Dr.
of the
Ruth.
episode. Yeah, I just, it makes me laugh that little old woman knows as much as she does.
I know, right?
And Turd, of course, you're always welcome back. Turd said, "Thank you for letting me participate."
She's still alive. She's 94 years old, but she's still alive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Alive and kicking.
Yes, we looked it up. I couldn't find if she was still married or not. But I found that she's still kicking. She's like 93 years old.
Yeah, go.
But anyway, so as always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Send us your ideas. You can comment on our YouTube channel, or you can send us an email. It's twochickstellall@gmail.com. So it kind of looks, the email is exactly what our little Two Chicks Tell All picture. That's exactly how it's spelled. So, it's not too hard to find us, send us your ideas. We love hearing stories. We love hearing from our fans out there because we have been, gaining a following. So, so it's good to hear from y'all and just hearing, what you can contribute to our conversations. So I think that's all we have for this week.
I believe so.
All right. As always, it's Two Chicks Tell All signing off. It's your girl Tay Tay.
And CC.
All right.
And it's your asshole Annie.
And of course, Annie J.
Bye.
Bye.
See you guys later. Bye-bye.
Bye.